track, on the track in Cortina.
Racing on the edge. It's like a fine line between ice and fire. Racing on the edge. Racing on the edge.
Welcome to beautiful northern Italy on a beautiful day as the FIVT World Cup season resumes after the new year in Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy. We're set for women's bobsled action. It's been a big year so far, John Morgan, for the Americans.
Shauna Robach of the United States, Orem, Utah. Started off with a gold in Calgary, a gold in Salt Lake. She fell to a bronze in Lake Placid. She's been flying, but she had a crash earlier in the week here in Cortina. Kathleen Martini. Hey, this is girl here's tied for the World Cup points lead with Shauna Robach. She's been in the medals every race, including a gold medal in Lake Placid last time out. Helen Upperton of Canada. She's also been on the podium in 2 of the 3 races. She's ranked 3rd in World Cup points. And she had a very successful European campaign last year. Sandra Kuriasis. Very disappointing up to her standards to date. She's not won a gold medal, but she did win the gold medal on this track last year.
Five races remain during this bobsled season. There's how it shapes up, as John alluded to, a tie for first place atop the standings. Upperton in 3rd. A World Cup championship is a huge deal in this sport. We're getting set for the start of the Women's World Cup race. Tim Singer and John Morgan here in beautiful northern Italy. The Dolomites right behind us, John, of course, renowned for the treacherous rock climbing, and you translate that to bobsled. This Cortina track is certainly treacherous.
Well, when you have the people that are leading the World Cup and in 3rd in World Cup points, which is Shauna Robach of the United States, Helen Upperton of Canada, crashing almost consecutively in practice, along with about 8 or 9 other sleds, you then understand how challenging of a track here in Cortina it is for the athletes.
How challenging is this track right now? Here's a tour from top to bottom.
They've been sliding on this track since the 30s. Olympic Games stage here in 1956. You can see the Canadians. Gavin Hadley has the start record. Sandra Kuriasis has the record in the previous year. Up here, look at the drive lines.
There's no messing around anywhere on this track.
Well, we talked about Lake,
start right away.
Lake Placid is a man against the mountain. This is very similar. Here, there's no mistakes allowed, or you're on your head. Up here, top part of the track, little counter curve here left. First, real G-force pressure. And now, you go to a 3-corner combination of labyrinth. Every track's got to have one. And up here in Cortina, what a challenge. This is where you're gaining all your speed. Now, Belvedere, big sweeping left. Little counter, watch this big sweeping right. Bandione, look at the eyes. Straight away. This is where all the accidents are taking place, right here. That little counter curve. Now, with Antelo Cristallo, check this out. Wow, the pressure, 4 Gs, top of the track. 75-mile-an-hour speeds, a little jump right here. Down into the bottom part of the track. It just never stops. 4 more Gs. The athletes just get so much pressure here.
There's already been great action, even some crashes in run number 1. And when we return to Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italy, we've got the women's bobsled race first heat highlights and the second run coming your way. The Americans are getting ready at the top.
Racing on the edge.
From Ensenada to La Paz, over 1,000 miles, 2 teams, 1 mission, conquer the Baja 1000.
You never conquer the Baja, Baja conquers you.
2 roads to Baja, premiering tonight, 8 Eastern, only on Speed.
The worst enemy of your car's engine is sludge. Here's how you can prevent it. Hi, I'm Ron Ananian, the car doctor. This is another Castrol Car Care Minute. Grimy sludge is a direct result of engine neglect, which could cost you a new engine. But by using a quality oil like Castrol GTX, you can prevent sludge altogether. Castrol GTX is specially formulated to give maximum sludge protection compared to other leading oils. By using a quality oil and changing it every 3,000 miles or 3 months, whichever comes first, you can prevent deposits from ever happening in the first place. Also, make sure your engine is running at the proper temperature. The easiest and most accurate way to check engine temperature is to use a computer scan tool. With proper engine temperature, regular oil changes, and quality oil like Castrol GTX, sludge won't stand a chance. I'm Ron Ananian, the car doctor. This has been another Castrol Car Care Minute.
Speed Weeks, February 8th. NASCAR on Speed. It's huge.
If you want a truly great vacation, you'll need a passport. The ultimate winter passport from Whiteface Lake Placid. This passport gets you 3 days of skiing and riding at the Olympic Mountain, a group lesson, cross-country skiing, skating on the legendary oval, even admission to the Olympic Sports Complex where you can take a bobsled ride. No place celebrates winter like Whiteface Lake Placid. It's even a shorter, easier drive than to most Vermont resorts. Visit whitefacelakeplacid.com for your ultimate winter passport.
World Cup on Speed is being brought to you by Konica Minolta, the official sponsor of the FIBT World Cup Bobsleigh and Skeleton Tour, and by Omega, providing official race timing for the FIBT. Beautiful day here in Cortina. Earlier today, they ran the first run. Great excitement.
Yeah, this girl here, Jessica Garducci, she is on her home track. Hasn't had a great career to date, but here she's put herself in a position to win a medal. Top 5, she's not used to it. Shauna Roebuck.
Not used to being in fourth.
Shauna Roebuck, she's here in 4th place herself. That's why. That skid here out of Belvedere Bondione, she knows it. Still got a chance for a medal. Helen Upperton, familiar territory, currently 3rd place. Great start time in the first run.
And this next sled has been doing great this year, getting still very little respect.
Kathleen Martini chasing Sandra Curiasis. She does it again today, 2nd place. Perfect lines down the track, but she wasn't feeling good at the bottom. Upset stomach.
And Sandra is back.
Sandra Curiasis. Last year in Europe, last 4 years in Europe, she's been untouchable. Didn't do so well in North America, but here, she's atop of the leaderboard at the end of the first heat with a track record in the first run.
And with that track record, she has a half-second lead over her teammate. The Canadians 3rd, Americans in 4th place. Could be a battle for 2nd place during run number 2. Susie Erdman on a comeback race leading the back 5 there. 15 sleds will be showing you here in run number 2. Just 1 American and 2 Canadians in the field. Amanda Stepenko currently in 13th place. So as they get set for run number 2, there's the long arm of the law. They'll be watching the race closely. Delicart, Kilburn, and Georg Wirth. And our first sled comes to us from Scandinavia.
This Karen Olsen, she was in 4th place.
Karin Olsson, Helsingborg, Sverige. Therese Edholm, Stockholm, Sverige.
John, as you were saying, she finished 4th in the World Championships 6 years ago.
And then competed and finished top 7, I think, in the World Championship, or were the Olympics of 2002. Never saw her again to the last World Cup in Altenburg last year, and she's back on tour. But she represents good pilot back when women's bobsledding was emerging. Now, her problem, why she's in 15th place, start time. 5:64, you're going to see start times way down into the 37.
You bring up a good point, John, early here in the race. Just talk about how quickly this sport of women's bobsled has evolved, especially the athletes.
Well, I didn't think the athleticism was coming very well in 2002, 2003, but then in the 2003-04 season, Shauna Roebuck, Valerie Fleming came out and started breaking all the track records, and you're going to see the starts as we get into the final 7-8 sleds really, really improve, and you could see how the athletes have their hands full. Olsen, a very experienced pilot, but even on this track, there's a lot of banging, but there's a lot of banging for everybody that comes down. Look at these pictures. This is a traditional old bobsled track with cement walls. The conditions here are not very, very good for putting ice on the sidewalls because it's 40, 50 degrees. but she's finished. She's through and down, and she doesn't have to worry about Cortina the rest of the year.
And if I'm not mistaken, this is only something like the second or third time the women have competed on this track.
Third straight year on the track.
They kept them away for a while.
Well, there's good reason, Tim. This track can destroy a lot of people's careers. Look at this shot on the exit of Cristallo, 75 miles an hour.
Just warming up here at Cortina, back with all of the top sleds in a moment.
Speed takes you to Barrett Jackson.
Biggest auction in the world.
When you enter that room, you get goosebumps.
Heavy metal meets classic metal.
It's almost like being in a rock show.
Welcome to Barrett Jackson.
Log on to speedtv.com to make your Haggerty fantasy bid.
Hey, you didn't buy a car, you bought a whole experience. I love this stuff.
Barrett Jackson begins Tuesday, 7 Eastern, only on Speed. Presented by Haggerty Collector Car Insurance.
Guess what, Chad? We hooked it up so our customers can talk to 5 friends on any network for free.
Wow, that's pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I guess the only thing better would be 10 friends on any network for free.
Dude, that's double.
That's like twice as
That's
much.
like 2 of your plans.
Okay, I get it.
And with my circle, you get to keep your mobile-to-mobile minutes.
You take those away? Shh, you're embarrassing us in front of Chad. We are so having a meeting when we get back to the food court.
Take the My Circle head-to-head challenge at alltelcircle.com.
Now you can get extra cash. Recycle your old gold that's gathering dust. Call the number on your screen for quick cash. The Gold Kit is absolutely free. Send broken and outdated items like old rings, charms, chains, and more.
I got $1,000 for my old gold jewelry. It's safe, it's fast, it's easy, and the Gold Kit is free.
We'll mail you a free personalized Gold Kit for safe shipping in our new virtually indestructible TrueTech mailer for maximum protection. Your check will follow promptly.
I called and got my free Gold Kit. I sent in my jewelry, and they sent me my check.
The Gold Kit and postage are free. Your satisfaction guaranteed. Here's how it works. Call for your free Gold Kit, then gather your old gold jewelry, send it in the free postage-paid TrueTech mailer, and get your cash fast.
I'm going on vacation with the money I got from my old gold jewelry.
Don't wait. Take your old gold jewelry and turn it into cash now. Call the number on your screen now or visit goldkit.com.
Excitement and respect for a legendary bobsled track.
Well, these are the pictures of Cortina way back in the 50s. Watch this shot of the brakeman. You got to get in the sled. Think bad can happen when you don't. Republic of China back in the 81 World Championships. Hey, here's American Brent Rushlaw and Bob Brell in the 81 World Championships. Legendary Wolfgang Hoppe in 1996. Here's the Latvians in 2000. Watch this shot of Serge Debray from Canada. The brakeman decides it's time to get out. It's an exciting bobsled track, trust me.
Conditions here, beautiful day, as you can see. Temperature close to 50 degrees, actually just over 50 degrees under sunny skies. That sometimes will play some havoc on the ice conditions, obviously. As you see, they go in reverse order, 15-1. We've seen one sled already, and the first heat leader, Sandra Kiriasis, will be the final sled down the track. And here's a sled from Switzerland.
Isabel Baumann, Spiez, Schweiz. Reglerstärke, Döringen, Schweiz.
And John, talking about crashes, you were at the race 11 years ago, the men's 4-man race, where an American crossed the finish line upside down and still won the race.
That wasn't the American, that was the Italian, Gunther Huber.
That's right, the American also
That
crashed.
was right after Hoppe crashed. We just saw the pictures of that. So I've seen some excitement on this track. Start time. Look at the technique here. Shoulders, everything straight ahead. Lock themselves in. Now get in with cat-like movements and get on. And now you got some hellacious ride. 9,700ths lead over the sled from Sweden that we just saw come down. Now this is the Labyrinth. Now Belvedere. Wow. Crossover, that's a big mistake. Bandione. Now the problems start. Look at the skid here. This is where everybody's crashing right here on this exit of this curve. Oh, that was two runners.
To stay upright.
Watch out the rest of the way. Look how high she is there. I don't think she's got control of the runner. She just hit 2 lips. Oh, does she have her hands full? Isabel Baumann. This is not the type of bobsledding she's learning in St. Moritz or Innsbruck This is a totally different animal.
Nonetheless, a huge advantage, better than a half second over the Swedes, as Switzerland number 3 moves into the early lead.
No, nothing else on the circuit rivals what Cortina challenges, how Cortina challenges these pilots. There's a totally different mindset of the ability to get down the track. First of all, you want to get down the track, and then you want to think about going fast. Look at this bump here. That is not the way to do it. Now, what's the way she's steering, or we'll try to steer away from trouble. In fact, she doesn't do a bad job there. Right here, 2 runners. Look at the airborne. That's, they call that little chink curve. About 12 teams, men's and women, have crashed there this week.
First of 2 sleds from Canada. The driver in her first year on the World Cup is Amanda Stempenko. Cindy Marshall behind her on the sled.
Stempenko, she's place of birth was Edmonton. Favorite book, Animal Farm. Favorite music, Fleetwood Mac. She now lives in Calgary. She was a volleyball team up at the University of Calgary. She's got a Bachelor of Science in Geography. Well, she's going to get a little geography lesson here on this track.
You know, earlier we saw as the Hilty Hugel sled, the one of choice for this Canadian team, we saw that Gavin Blatty, the Canadian pilot, has the start record on this track. She's not even competing for Canada this year. A lot of young drivers for the Canadian program.
Well, the Canadians got a big focus in 2010. Look at the techniques here. Now, the ride. Now, you've seen the Swiss sled come down, hit everything in sight. Amanda Stepanko got a 4200s lead. And up here, you're just trying to keep the sled straight off those sidewalls, which are cement. 42 down to 39, but remember that Swiss sled hit everything in sight the rest of the way down the track here.
You know, I know we've got a lot of regular viewers here on Speed, but for you newcomers, I will repeat once again that World Cup bobsledding is a 2-heat competition. It's combined time, and you're seeing the Canadian sled being compared to the Swiss sled on your clock on the lower part of your screen.
9500s lead. The green means you're in the lead. Red means you're deficient numbers. This is going to be a great look at that. She went from 95 to a 2.5-second lead on the bottom part of the track. She drove well, but it also tells you how bad the Swiss sled Isabel Bowman was on the bottom part of the track.
Well, when we return, we've got the British, the Russians, and the rest of the field ready to take on this track in Cortina. Don't go away, I promise you. It's going to be exciting.
Tonight on Speed, Lucas Oil late model racing from Iowa. Then the Lost Driving presents the Wild Angels starring Peter Fonda.
Never pays to hassle the man that has the power.
The action begins tonight, 7:30 Eastern on Speed. From Ensenada to La Paz, over 1,000 miles, 2 teams, 1 mission. Conquer the Baja 1000.
You never conquer the Baja. Baja conquers you.
2 roads to Baja, premiering tonight, 8 Eastern, only on Speed.
It's time to feel free with new Chase Freedom. Feel free to choose points for rewards like travel.
I'm free to do what I want.
Or feel free to choose cash back. Then feel free to change back again without losing a thing. That's freedom. That's Chase Freedom. Get it free at chase.com/freedom.
Their first moments, seen for the first time. In the Womb, Multiples, premieres Sunday on the National Geographic Channel.
So how do you plan a legendary winter vacation? Start with the highest elevation and the biggest vertical in the east. Add 98% snowmaking coverage, the fastest gondola in North America, even a dedicated mountain for kids and beginners. That's Whiteface. And talk about legendary. After hosting 2 Winter Olympics, the village of Lake Placid has learned a few things about Adirondack hospitality. And it's a shorter, easier drive to Whiteface Lake Placid than to most Vermont resorts. Whiteface Lake Placid. The magic continues.
Competition continues with the sled from Great Britain.
Nicola Minicello, Sheffield, Great Britain. Lauren Terran, Jersey, United Kingdom.
And Minichiello, 27-year-old teacher from Sheffield, maybe the most inconsistent driver on the World Cup Tour.
There's our Canadian leaders at the bottom. Cindy Marshall on the left. Amanda Stempenko on the right.
Minichiello, if I'm not mistaken, John, has a world championship medal to her credit.
Silver medal in Calgary 2 years ago.
But not much else.
Disastrous last year. They had such great hope after winning that silver medal in Calgary the year before the Olympics. Came out, bought new sleds. Ugh, little skid there. Look at the way she was on the wrong side of that wall. That'll cost her. That looks like they ran too far or something, because they came out of the drive lines and she's been bumping all the way down that straightaway too. And you can't, you know, even though there's such challenge down below, you still got to keep it straight up top. And she's lost 27-19. That's not going to help either. This is the third of 3 quarters called the Labyrinth. Now Belvedere, the lead's down to 12. Going to need perfect lines the rest of the way.
Bodes well for the Canadians down in the leader box.
12 down to 10. That's almost like stopping the bleeding. Good exit here. Watch the runners.
Very nice.
Very clean. Up to 17. So, I talked about the perfect line she needed on the bottom part of the track. She just found it. Should be our leader.
And in fact, the British do take over the lead by 12 hundredths. 56.23 for the run, 152.42, the 2-heat combined time for Great Britain's sled number 1.
She's driving the Netherlands sled. That's the Aaron Glass's sled from last Olympics. I think the British have leased it for the winter.
Next up, from Russia.
Виктория Таковая, Сочи, Россия. Ольга Федорова, Екатеринбург, Россия.
Very accident-prone, despite veteran pilot. This was at last week's race in Lake Placid.
Well, just trying to find the edge. Don't steer at top of the track in Lake Placid, but this is what happens if you don't steer. Lake Placid's got a little challenge. Back on the runners. She finished the run. This mother of one, pretty tough cookie. She's from Suji, Tim, which is bidding for the 2014 Winter Olympic Games. They're about to start building a bobsled track there, and the Russians have poured a lot of money into bobsled and skeleton.
No question about it, and have had great success in particular in the men's program. This Russian sled was in 11th place after run number 1. Some early skids here.
Got to be straight. That's not the way to do it. That's just too much steering. That's just no confidence in the sled to run straight. If you're going to get into a skid, just hit the wall once. Let the sled run straight.
11 hundredths lead at the latest split over the British.
And she's sideways. 11th, probably down to 0 or something the next clock. They're down to 3, lost more time. But she could find a perfect line down here. She could do what the British did, still bring the leader's buck. That's a good line there.
Very
Oh,
nice.
she's coming in late. Watch
Oh,
out.
they're over. And that came out of nowhere, John.
She came into that little chink curve, hit the take-on before she got in, pushed her down to the belly of the curve. And usually the sled can come back up there. It's not coming for Victoria.
So all we can do is wait for this sled to stop and hope that 2 able bodies emerge.
Listen to the noise. Those cowlings, when you're tucked in that sled, it's a thunderous noise. It's now what they need is to get the hook out. This person's got to come get the hook, stop the sled, or it's going to go all the way backwards. Give that guy a medal.
Oh. They receive a finish time, a dubious one, and really not too important in their minds right now. But
there's the brakeman getting out.
No sign of the driver Tokovaya yet. That's not a good sign when there's no sign, although I do see some movement.
Looks like her helmet. Yeah, she's coming out. Look up. I'll tell you, the one thing about the drivers, you learn to get underneath that cowling and protect yourself. But you still get beat up in there.
And she turned that thing over quickly, so you have to act. Get under the cowling.
She went into the no man's land. She was late, trying to get on early, and just tapped going in, pushed her down into the belly. Sled's got no choice to go up. Watch this. Watch the left side of your screen. Watch her tap here. Doop, down into the belly of the curve. Look at the angle. Sled's got no place to go but up. Not the way you want to look at Cortina. From this perspective, not healthy.
2 weeks in a row, the Russians turn over. The good news, they're okay. And the British have the lead. Even better news, we'll be back with much more bobsledding in a moment from Cortina.
Sunday night on the Speed Report, we remember the great life and career of Bobby Hamilton. Plus, in-depth coverage as testing continues on the high banks of Daytona. The Speed Report, Sunday night, 7 Eastern, 4 Pacific, only on Speed.
As a loan officer, I hate saying no to good people. If you've been turned down for a car loan, it's time to call Bar None. During the past 10 years, they've assisted over 5 million people.
Bar None was there for me when the chips were down, and they helped me out tremendously.
Bar None will treat you like a real person. In as little as 5 minutes, they can process your application, and their customer service is open 24/7. Isn't it time for someone to say yes? Get your car today. Call 1-800-BAR-NONE.
From a legendary track once emerged a legendary athlete.
One of the legends of the sport of bobsledding, Eugenio Monti, born here in Cortina, didn't make the Olympic ski team in '52, tried out for bobsledding, won 2 silvers in '56, 2 bronze in '64. He won double gold in Grenoble, established himself as one of the true legends of the sport, passed away in 2003, buried here in Cortina, one of the true legends of the sport of bobsledding.
Women's race continues now with a sled from the Netherlands.
Eline Jurg, Putten, Nederland. Urta Rozenstruik, Amsterdam, Nederland.
And John, you just gave us Monty's impressive stats. Or some viewers may wonder why he didn't win any medals in 1960.
No bobsledding at the Squaw Valley Winter Olympic Games. I call it the biggest detriment to the sport in the last century. And if they would have had bobsledding at Squaw, oh, look at that. She got out of the drive lines right there, too. Looks like maybe the brakeman ran too far, and now she's skidding down the first straightaway. But that no bobsledding in Squaw Valley set the U.S. into a tailspin, won its last Olympic medal in '56. We didn't recover until they built another track at the 2002 Salt Lake Games, where we won gold, silver, and bronze. But that was a big detriment to the sport of bobsledding. Now,
it's been a detrimental ride so far for the Netherlands here.
She's got to get it straight here. And she's in a skid in that same problem area.
And they're over 2 sleds in a row. Perhaps something's happening to the track, or we've just had
driver
bad
error.
luck.
That's driver error.
They're back over.
There's
you mentioned, you alluded to that the sleds
all week long. All the
to
sleds have been coming up right there.
Well, that's good news, and they look okay in the sled.
Cortina. There's a lot of people that are happy when they see Cortina in their rear view mirror.
Or at least the finish line, which this sled successfully crosses. And there's the hook, man.
Tim, you don't want to see the hook in Cortina. It's not. The hook with your car is one thing. The hook here in Cortina, not a good sign. Looks like they're both okay. It's amazing. 70 miles an hour, tipping over like that.
So exposed.
It's just, look at the same thing. Look, now she's panicked there. Look at that. There's exactly how not to go into that curve. She crashed there in practice earlier in the week, and it got her again. Just can't find a way to stay straight going to that curve, Tim, is 5 feet high. Look at the way they come back up. That little curve, 5 feet high, about 30 feet long, causing all these problems.
And that ride was a headache, no question about it. Okay, still ahead, the Americans and the Canadians.
Maya Bommer, Tukke, Schweiz.
Anne Dietrich, Tucken, Switzerland.
This is the second of 3 sleds from Switzerland. I believe that brakeman.
Yeah, she was a German last year.
German program.
Yeah, she's got dual citizenship and realizes it might be better opportunity to represent a country at the Olympic Games in Switzerland. But she's got great technique. Look at Anna Dietrich. The head's not moving side to side. She's very experienced.
Won many medals.
Look at the footwork. You got those little spikes on, those Adidas shoes. They're about 1/16 of an inch. There's about 300 of them. That's the only way you grip the ice. That's your accelerator in bobsledding, and then it's your skill to drive, not like that. There's the speed after curve one. Bombert has the best speed. Now into the labyrinth, now we've seen 2 consecutive sleds crash. Don't think that this Swiss pilot's not thinking about that.
And as a result of those crashes,
oh,
big
we got
skid.
some more problems.
The British have continued to hold on to the lead down at the bottom, but this sled, if it stays upright, should take over the lead.
4,200s at the last clock, but wasn't clean coming out of Bandillon. It's down to 25, and she's all over the place. This is still a lot of time, but Cortina, strange things can happen on the bottom part of this track. And she's got enough time in the bank from her first heat run.
But she gave a lot away on the second half of that track.
Yeah, she might have beat the British there, but she's not going to move up probably too many more sleds. But you see the brakeman tap her on the head. Thanks, we're at the bottom.
Down safely.
Let's go to Innsbruck.
152.22 for Switzerland sled number 2.
Out of Bandillon. Look at the runner tips. You want to get over here on the left side of your screen, but she tried to come over here too early. She's got a skid, not steering away. Now, look at the runner, still staying straight. She's leaving the runner straight, but boy, she was very fortunate there wasn't 3 people in a row upside down.
So the Swiss, the British, and the Canadians with 10 sleds remaining. Check that, 8 sleds remaining. Here's the third of 3 from Switzerland.
Sabine Hafner, Liestel, Schweiz. Katharina Sutter, Neuhausen, Schweiz.
Hafner, the 27-year-old from Duken, Switzerland.
Again, Sutter was on that World Championship Swiss women's bobsled as a brakeman at the 2001 World Championships in Calgary.
You'll want to join us in 2 weeks when we commence coverage here on Speed of the World Championships on the great track, the natural track in St. Moritz, Switzerland.
Well, this Sabine Hafner has got a much better run going than we saw her teammate. Little skid there. She's only got a 500s lead, but she has much better lines. As I say that, she gets through the chink up to 18. Well, those lines went from -5 to -18. Now watch her, the speed. Look at these pictures. You just don't know what it feels like to come down this track, how rough it is. All over the place. The fast lines are not the smooth lines.
And one Swiss sled takes over the lead from another by 0.4 of a second. So Sabine Hafner, the smallest of the 3 Swiss pilots, but clearly the best driver amongst the crowd. We've got much more to come as the Swiss take over the lead. When we return, hey, you know, there's one athlete still competing in this sport that once competed for the old East German program, the veteran Susie Erdman, when we return.
Training camp is in session. NASCAR preseason thunder. Coverage continues tomorrow, 6:30 Eastern on Speed.
Hey guys, remember me? Pella double hung windows. Hey, great work. Hey, thanks.
Hey, hey, how are you guys?
Good.
Thanks, window guy.
At Lowe's, our professional installers do the kind of job you'll appreciate long after they leave your home.
My wife loves the storm door.
Lowe's, let's build something together.
Use your Lowe's consumer card and pay nothing for 12 months on any purchase of $299 or more.
Fox tomorrow. An American hero returns.
You don't want to make me do this.
Don't miss the 2-night, 4-hour premiere.
You're hurting me. Trust me. I'm not.
24 at 8, 7 Central tomorrow on Fox.
Code White, do you copy?
Copy that. Hey!
Need a lift?
Yeah, good thing I have Esurance. I can report a claim 24/7.
But he'll never get his car repaired out here.
Not true. With its direct repair program, Esurance can always find you a reliable body shop.
But what if he had his own body shop?
At Esurance, it's your choice. If you're on the go, you've got to have Esurance.
Save on 24/7 claim service. Visit esurance.com today.
We're back in Cortina, Italy. where there is a very impressive bobsled museum.
56 Winter Olympic Games. They opened this museum up last year to celebrate the 50th anniversary of those games. Inside memorabilia like Eugenio Monti's sled. Wonderful, wonderful collection of Olympic art and exact designs. These were the exact designs laid out when they made their presentation to get the Olympics in 1952 for the 56 Games. So very impressive place to stop by if you are in Cortina.
Claudia Schramm, Oberhof, Deutschland. Stefanie Czurek, Schmalkalden, Germany.
If ever there were a fourth wheel in the sport of bobsled.
There's problems here.
Little problems.
Wolfgang Hoppe helping her out.
As we look at House of God, everything. She loves all music.
Well,
but
right.
As I was saying, a fourth wheel, such a deep German program.
Well, she's got some issues. A little buckle coming down, and there's our leaders at the bottom part of the track. Hafner on the right, they call her the firecracker. And here goes Schramm at the top. Not often where you see the drivers bigger than the braker. That's a good sign when you're that big, but you still got to run.
Used to see that regularly with Pierre Luders.
Well, Pierre's 6'2", 225, 220 solid. Look at the technique on the back, though. She's a sprinter. And here's the speed up top. You can see that a tenth of a kilometer. Doesn't sound like much. That doesn't really affect you on this track. Look at these lines. These are good lines. Of course, she's living as the German number 4
As
pilot.
I was saying, and as Germany number 4, the 31-year-old soldier from Oberhof gets very little international race time. She took advantage last year in Altenburg with a silver medal.
Well, that was on a home track. There was a reduced field.
Yeah.
-9 to -19. Even though she's sitting down here at the high speed, that will not affect you that much. But she was a little late coming out of that curve. That curve could cost you. -35, that was some great lines in the bottom part of the track, where I just criticized her for coming off that curve of 2 runners, but that was a fast line.
So 2 heat combined time, 151.48, as the Germans move into the lead with still 3 other sleds from Deutschland to come.
Down here, bottom part of the track, there's a little bit of air underneath the runners. Look how well she corrected herself by just hitting the wall, let the run straight. Didn't try and steer out of trouble. Now she's not steering here at all and comes off late. Ooh, look at the speed in the bottom. That's why she's the leader. Almost 2 kilometers better than anybody else.
One German down, another set to go.
Susie Erdman, München, Germany. Erik Wiaka, Ingolstadt, Deutschland.
The 39-year-old Erdman won 1 race last season, always among the best in the world. This is her first competition this season. John, she has been to the Olympics 5 times in 2 different sports and has come away with 3 Olympic medals and top 5, no worse, every time.
6 foot, almost 6'1". Heard the big story for her. I said, you know, she won that Olympic medal way back in '92 in the Albertville, then the Lillehammer Games, right?
That's right.
And then she turned around, became a bobsledder, won a medal at the 2002 Games in bobsledding. Took her clothes off for Playboy in 2004, caused a big problem in the German Federation. They lost a couple sponsors. Then they turned around and gained all sorts of sponsors for the exposure. It's a double word.
What do you mean by exposure?
But
yeah.
she is, you know, she's had a long, storied career. And look at these lines. Look at these lines.
And she has a lead by 100th of a second over her teammate.
No one's coming down the straighter than this right here. That is, you know, with a bad start time. And look at that. On the bottom part of the track, look at Schramm. Very disappointed. Trying to beat. Here's Schramm, has been competing all year. Erdman comes out of the Europa Cup. Beats her in the first race.
By 600ths of a second. Former East German moves into the lead. 151.42.
Knows how to drive. Look at, this is how to do it. Medium line, straight through the crossover. Let the sled accelerate without any steering, the high speed part of the track. Who's got the best high speed in the bottom part of the track? Susie Erdman. That's why she's our leader.
To the top we go. This has been a wonderful story here in Cortina.
Jessica Gilarduzzi, Cortina d'Ampezzo, Italia. Fabiana Mollica, Cambiasca, Italia.
Gilarduzzi and Mollica. For Jessica Gilarduzzi, the driver, she has not finished higher than 12th in the last 3 years. That was at the Olympics last year, also in Italy. And here she sits in 5th place after one run.
Persistence. I've always criticized her driving. Just overdrives constantly. You can't steer these sleds out of trouble. You got to let the sled go where it wants to go. And here she's in a place that so much pressure.
Well, a story within the story, John. If she comes down in 1st place here, she will at least capture a bronze medal at the European Championships, which this World Cup is doubling as this weekend.
We don't know anything about the European Championships, but they just eliminate the North Americans. So this would guarantee her a medal. It would be huge in front of her family. She's got a big fan club here.
All wearing Tiger outfits, I might add.
And she's got a great line at the bottom part of the track. As good a line as we saw Susie Erdman. Ooh, but she was close to going over there. But this looks like the best finish of this
She's done it
life.
By 0.08 of a second. Coach Ivo Ferriani and Antonio Tartaglia, they're thrilled at the top. The fans are loving this down at the bottom. Italy has captured at least a bronze medal for the European Championships. There's her family. Wow, big moment.
Been around a long time with no result.
As for the World Cup, 4 sleds remain. The celebration for the Italians continues, but it's the Americans getting set at the start. When we return, Shauna Roebuck and Valerie Fleming. They've won 2 races this year. Can they make it number 3? We'll find out.
Hi, Enterprise. I'm at the repair shop, and I need to rent a car.
At Enterprise, we'll arrange to pick you up free and get you on your way.
Nice save, Mom.
Pick Enterprise. We'll pick you up.
Tonight, try our new fresh jumbo lump crab cake. Then enjoy our new premium age prime sirloin. Too juicy for words. Uncompromising quality, incredible freshness. Yours always, Ruby Tuesday.
Here's to men, to guys who want to spend more time having fun and less time in the men's room. And here's to Flomax. It's approved to treat male urinary symptoms due to BPH, also called an enlarged prostate. In 1 week, Flomax may help symptoms like frequently waking up at night to go, going often, going urgently, weak stream. Ask your doctor if symptoms are from BPH, not prostate cancer. Common side effects of Flomax are runny nose, dizziness, and decrease in semen. Upon standing, a sudden decrease in blood pressure may occur, rarely resulting in fainting. So when starting Flomax, avoid situations where injury could result. To learn more, call 866-4FLOMAX. Ask your doctor. Flomax could make a difference in 1 week.
From Ensenada to La Paz, over 1,000 miles, 2 teams, 1 mission. Conquer the Baja 1000.
You never conquer the Baja. Baja conquers you.
2 roads to Baja, premiering tonight, 8 Eastern, only on Speed.
If you want a truly great vacation, you'll need a passport. The ultimate winter passport from Whiteface Lake Placid. This passport gets you 3 days of skiing and riding at the Olympic Mountain, a group lesson, cross-country skiing, skating on the legendary oval, even admission to the Olympic Sports Complex where you can take a bobsled ride. No place celebrates winter like Whiteface Lake Placid. It's even a shorter, easier drive than to most Vermont resorts. Visit whitefacelakepplacid.com for your ultimate winter passport.
Tim Singer and John Morgan back here in Cortina. It's the Americans, the World Cup leaders, Shauna Roebuck and Valerie Fleming. In fact, they're tied for the World Cup lead with German pilot Kathleen Martini, who's still ahead of them in the standings in this race. Roebuck, as we look at the leaders, is 28 years old from Orem, Utah, and Fleming, a 30-year-old from Foster City, California. They're always great here at the top part of the track.
Valerie's got a twin sister, Victoria. She went to UC Santa Barbara, track and field athlete, and we know how good of an athlete Shauna Roebuck is.
John, for many, many years, in the early part of the 2000s, the USA had at least three sleds in a given race that could compete for medals. This is the only sled in this field. I ask you, where's the depth?
Well, there's some good athletes coming up in the U.S. program. That the Women's Tour, America's Cup, Europa Cup. And right now, the leader of the pack, of course, is Shauna Roebuck, silver medalist last year in her Bodine sled at the Torino Olympic Games. She won that with driving skills. Here she's got a 1500s lead on the Italians in the bottom, but she's lost a little time. Going to need to be perfect here, and it's up to 28, and that is as good as it gets. Shauna Roebuck did not have this type of run in the first heat, or else she wouldn't have been at fourth. This is a clean line. Look at that. Accelerate away or what on the bottom part of that track.
The Italians all smiles at the bottom despite the fact they've been passed by the Americans. A great showing for Italy, but it's the USA now in first with 3 sleds remaining, so whether they win another medal or not depends on what the next sleds will do.
Good line. Shauna Roebuck found it. I think she's unhappy with herself.
Happy now.
Well, remember in the first run, she was sideways here out of Belvedere Bandione. How about this line? Look at the runners. That, you can't do it better than that. Look at the speed. Best speed of anybody so far. And look at the coaches. Bill Tavares on the right, longtime U.S. coach.
Final sled from Canada now going.
Helen Upperton, Calgary, Alberta, Canada. Jenny Cicchetti, Edmonton, Alberta, Canada.
And these guys crashed a couple of times during training.
This week was a bit interesting. My sled got lost and I had to miss the first day of training. So when I started on the second day of training, I got to do 3 runs, and on the third run we rolled it halfway down the track, and it was Jenny's first crash, and it's not the best place to crash here because we were going pretty fast and it's really abrupt corners. So the rest of the week was a bit hard, and we worked really hard to try and fix some stuff.
Well, To Kill a Mockingbird, a classic, hip-hop, not so classic, a little more contemporary for this pilot, who was incidentally born in Kuwait and now lives in Calgary, Alberta. And her brakeman, Jenny Cicchetti, new to this sled, or at least only part-time with Upperton.
Yeah, recruited last summer by Matt Hindle. She's a sprinter. Look at the technique. You know, they got that start house up there in Calgary. With the starts they've been getting have been unbelievable. The start record, 5:29. They probably would challenge some of the most, I would say, a third of the men's field. That
is impressive. And will it put the pressure now on the next few sleds? She has a pretty safe lead over the Americans entering this final run, and she's extending that now 0.4 of a second.
Well, she's won medals last year with her start abilities. She finished 4th in Torino, and everybody thought she was a dark horse to win the gold or silver because of her start time. Now she's got to learn how to get the sled down on the bottom, and this is for a medal. If she finishes ahead of the USA Shauna Roebuck at the bottom, she will win a medal. It's down only 34 hundredths, and this looks like at least a bronze medal.
Those
for
bumps
Helen
down at the
Upperton.
bottom of the track rarely cost you that much time. By 0.2 of a second, she lost half that lead on the bottom part of the track, but had a big enough advantage to maintain her spot and win at least a bronze medal.
She's happy with that. 2 things. 1, she's done with Cortina. 2nd, she's won at least a bronze medal.
But 2 Germans will have a say on who wins this race when we return.
Tonight on Speed, Lucas Oil late model racing from Iowa. Then the Lost Driving presents the Wild Angels starring Peter Fonda.
Never pays to hassle the man that has the power.
The action begins tonight, 7:30 Eastern on Speed.
Cotlin Gardner is a real Geico customer, not an actor. So to help tell her story, we hired an actor.
My husband totaled our new SUV on my birthday.
But you know, I still love him.
Less than 6 hours after the accident, the Geico claim adjuster was at my house.
Well, I put on some tangerine lip gloss and answered the door.
Geico service turned out to be the best birthday present I could ever want.
I was one lucky woman.
Geico. Real service, real savings.
This season, an entirely new way to watch racing, bringing you closer to NASCAR than ever before. Introducing NASCAR Hot Pass. 5 driver channels with exclusive race coverage, live team audio between crew chief and driver, plus interactive features and real-time stats. This season, only DirecTV lets you ride shotgun. NASCAR Hot Pass. Order now and save $20 off the regular season price.
Ooh,
Okay, so you want to watch a DirecTV pay-per-view movie or event, but you aren't sure how to order. That's okay! Let me introduce myself. I'm the select or buy button on your remote control. Hey, how you doing? If your receiver's connected to a phone line, you can choose your pay-per-view program and then press me, moi, to buy and confirm your order, okay? It's also okay to order online, or you can also use the phone. No matter how you order, it's all okay. And remember to order early so you don't miss the start of your program! Whew. DirecTV pay-per-view, always the best seats in the house, okay?
This was the scene 1 year ago, actually late 2005 in Cortina, Italy.
Yeah, Sandra Curiasis on your Shiner Heights just blew the field away. She was perfect at both runs, track record. She broke the track record again in the first heat that she had owned.
That was amidst a 5-race winning streak for the eventual Olympic gold medalist, and she'll be coming up, getting ready, doing the driving imagery right near the start. 2 sleds remain. She'll be last. Her teammate, the World Cup leader, now set to go.
Kathleen Martini, Altenberg, Germany. Janine Tischer, Meining, Germany.
And Martini is as hot a driver as there is on the circuit right now. She has medaled in her last 4 races dating back to last season. She'll be keeping not a Bridget Jones diary, but a Kathleen Martini diary if she can win again here.
Did make the Olympic team, lost out a spot to Erdman. Came out committed this year. Won the gold in Lake Placid last event.
That can make you hungry, there's no doubt.
Last event in Lake Placid, she won the event.
300ths behind that great start of the Canadians, and now falling back even further.
That's the relation to the start speed.
Only 600 separated them entering this run.
Look at that, +9 to +4. That's the driving skills that this Altenberg pilot has. Altenberg's a track, like you can't believe the challenge there. Now it's plus red numbers to -4, green numbers. She's through the little chink curve that's caused all the problems. It's up to 9.
Huge advantage from split to split there.
No one's got better speed than that. Entering Antolo Cristallo up to 19. Look at the line. You can't put it any straighter than that. That's almost like it's on a track. And it's a fast track to the bottom. This is at least a silver medal.
0.3 of a second better than the Canadians. Germany number 2, Kathleen Martini, Janine Tischer. They take over the lead. John, the other German sled has a big advantage, but did they send any kind of message here, this sled? I mean, that was a good run.
She's got a half-second deficiency to Curiasis coming down the track. Look at these lines. Look at high line. Look how high she is. Now this is where it's 75-mile-an-hour speed. You exit like a slingshot effect on the bottom part of the track. Robach and the Bodine sled still had the better speed on the bottom part of the track, but Robach didn't have the good first heat, so that's why she's not challenging for the top.
1 sled remains here in Cortina d'Ampezzo.
Sandra Kiriasis, Winterberg, Germany. Romy Loksch, Leipzig, Germany.
Now, interestingly, this pilot, who won 6 out of 8 international races last year, is still looking for her first victory in 06-07. We see a big Harry Potter fan, and maybe she'll be writing book 7 here if she can capture this one. But John, she's been experimenting with different brakemen this season.
Well, when you've got the pool of athletes that the Germans cart around, you can pick and choose. She's a bigger athlete, the brakeman is, compared to Anya Schneiderheitz, who won the gold medal with her. And the heavier you are, the lighter the sled that you push.
Half-second lead, but she opens up even more in the early going.
She used to dominate at the start until Helen Upperton showed up. The only other person that would challenge her would always be the United States' Shauna Robach and Valerie Fleming. And they're sitting now in bronze medal position, but it looks like this sled's going to bump them out of that.
7/10. I mean, Curiasis, if she goes at this pace, will win this race by better than a full second.
We've seen some strange things down here in the chink curve, though. Watch this little counter curve coming up. Perfect line. Look at the way she came out of Belvedere Bandion. Let the sled hit once. It ran straight from there. Look at the speed, 109.7. I think that's even better than Robach's speed. And she is running away with it on the bottom part of the track. One last tight curve.
It's not going to be a full second, but it's going to be close. The Germans will capture this race, and it will be Germany number 1 by 89/100ths of a second. Sandra Curiasis and Romy Loksch. Better Germany 2, Canada 1 wins the bronze.
first gold of the year. Boy, does this send a message to everybody else. She's probably saying North America was a warm-up. That was the preseason. This is the real deal here. We've got 4 World Cups and the World Championships, 5 events. She could win them all.
The Olympic gold medalist and World Cup defending World Cup champion wins her first race of this season midway through. A big moment to do it.
It's almost like she's relieved.
Yeah, I think so. And as we see, 149.53, big win. Germany 2 in second. Canadians, Shauna Roebuck with her worst finish of the season, but hey, 4th place, still a great showing. And Amanda Stepenko of Canada leads off the final 5, 11th place. Back with the interviews in a moment.
Tuesday, you're invited to the most anticipated event of the year, the Barrett-Jackson Collector Car Auction.
It's going to be the year first this year.
Only on Speed.
An amazing mosaic of feature cars, 6 days of live TV.
Experience the thrill. Log on to speedtv.com to make your Haggerty fantasy bid.
Come on, people!
Barrett-Jackson begins Tuesday, 7 Eastern, only on Speed. Presented by Haggerty Collector Car Insurance.
The worst enemy of your car's engine is sludge. Here's how you can prevent it. Hi, I'm Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor. This is another Castrol Car Care Minute. Grimy sludge is a direct result of engine neglect, which could cost you a new engine. But by using a quality oil like Castrol GTX, you can prevent sludge altogether. Castrol GTX is specially formulated to give maximum sludge protection compared to other leading oils. By using a quality oil and changing it every 3,000 miles or 3 months, whichever comes first, you can prevent deposits from ever happening in the first place. Also, make sure your engine is running at the proper temperature. The easiest and most accurate way to check engine temperature is to use a computer scan tool. With proper engine temperature, regular oil changes, and quality oil like Castrol GTX, sludge won't stand a chance. I'm Ron Ananian, the Car Doctor. This has been another Castrol Car Care Minute.
So how do you plan a legendary winter vacation? Start with the highest elevation and the biggest vertical in the east. At 98% snowmaking coverage, the fastest gondola in North America, even a dedicated mountain for kids and beginners. That's Whiteface. And talk about legendary. After hosting 2 Winter Olympics, the village of Lake Placid has learned a few things about Adirondack hospitality. And it's a shorter, easier drive to Whiteface Lake Placid than to most Vermont resorts. Whiteface Lake Placid. The magic continues.
Racing on the edge. Daylight's intent is to be racing on the edge.
Welcome back to beautiful Cortina. We had a great women's bobsled race today. It was brought to you by Konica Minolta, official sponsor of the World Cup Bobsleigh and Skeleton Tour, and by Adidas, also an official sponsor of the Federation International Bobsleigh and Toboggan, and its official shoe. Here's our World Cup standings. Kathleen Martini is still in first place. Shauna Roebuck has now dropped back to second. Ellen Upperton of Canada in fourth. Not far out of third, the Swiss Sabina Hafner. And there's the rest of the top 10. Let's go down to Tim Singer.
Thanks very much, John. Well, you know, Shauna, that you've reached high places when you're disappointed by not winning any medal. And I guess for you, it goes back to that first run. What happened with that skid?
I don't know. I came out of Bendione and just had a big power skid. And then, of course, the kink, you know, is always a panic for everybody here this week. It's been a bit of a bad curve. And then out of Cristallo, you know, I had another one and then went over the jump and had another one. And I don't know, just unlucky and obviously not the best of runs.
Third place today goes to Canada 1 and driver Helen Upperton. And Helen, you're still relatively new in this sport, so a track like Cortina, especially when other sleds are crashing, how daunting is that?
Well, I crashed also earlier in the week, and actually with Jenny. And for us to be a little bit bruised and battered and nervous for the race, the third is a really good result. We were fourth here last year. And even despite the incidences earlier in the week, we had a great push and a really good result. And I love Cortina. It's a good track. I like the challenging track, so I'm really happy. And Jenny's happy too.
You should be happy. Great Great job. Now, congratulations to Germany #1, Germany 2, and Canada 1, the medalists here in Cortina d'Ampezzo.
Well, that's the first of 2 hours of bobsledding from Cortina. The next time we're going to see it will be 2-man and 4-man bobsledding. The men get a chance to challenge the track or vice versa. And as you saw with these pictures, a lot of things can happen. It's a track that is not for the weak. It's bobsledding at its best. Great competition today. Canada with the bronze medal, the United States with 4th place. For all my FIBT colleagues, my FIBT television team, and my broadcast partner, Tim Singer, I'm John Morgan. We'll see you the next time on Speed for men's bobsled from Cortina.
Racing.